Hello, and welcome to the first video form of the Net Report podcast. You now get to see me in full video glory. My name is Jacob. This is my co-host, Christopher Rodriguez. And today we're going to be talking about the heating up second round playoff series for the NBA. Let's go, Chris.
Yeah, this has been a lot better than the first round so far. We've got tons of close matchups, and I'm ready to dive right into them.
Our first matchup is the Magic. Oh, wait, they didn't make it to the second round. I meant
Wow.
the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yikes.
That's a shot. That's a low blow, but we'll head right into the series. And honestly, we just saw the end of Game 4 right now. Boston takes a commanding 3-1 lead. And it's been weird because Boston, and it's been a theme throughout the playoffs, this is a team that kind of hasn't looked great at home. They gave one to Miami at home. They gave one to Cleveland now. And they almost lost. I don't want to say almost lost because it was still like they were firmly in control most of the game. But they let a team without Donovan Mitchell hang around. And it's just been the constant theme with this Boston team. They're still going to win the series ultimately. And without Porzingis, that still is impressive. It's just we're always constantly looking forward at this team. And it's a big concern. But I'll let the Boston fan kind of air all their grievances and tell me what you've seen mostly throughout this series.
So, Boston lost game 2 to Miami in the first series because they shot the most threes they've ever shot in the playoffs before. Anyways, they lost game 2 to Cleveland because Donovan Mitchell was amazing. But outside of that, we're going to win this in 5. If we don't, I'm sorry, Boston fans, that's my fault.
You're gonna jinx it
We're going to
all
win
the
this
way.
series. I was never concerned about getting through this series. It's the problem with the Celtics at this point is they need to end this as soon as possible so that their guys can rest. It's very clear for anyone who's watched the game. Without Porzingis, Al Horford looks like a liability out there. He's not hitting his shots. He's slow on the defense. Derek White's kind of pulled off a bit, but the rest of the team is still carrying the load. I expect them to close this out in 5 at home, in Boston, obviously. And from there, it is looking like it might be another cupcake matchup for the Eastern Conference Finals with the way it's looking on the 3-4 matchup.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, expect them to finish off this series. And honestly, the way the Knicks are looking right now, if they advance, they're not looking healthy. The Pacers, we'll get into that series in a second. But Boston really hasn't. I mean, I feel like they haven't been battle tested, but honestly, if that gives them enough time to get all their guys together, that's all you can ask for as a Boston fan going forward, especially looking towards the finals against probably either the Nuggets, Timberwolves, who knows who it's going to be, but it's going to be a scary matchup.
People are going to complain they haven't been battle tested. It's still the playoffs. Like, LeBron never got tested on his
That's
Cavs
absolutely
years.
true. You can only play who's in front of you.
Yeah, it's like Boston gets to choose who their opponents are, and the only reason they get to play the opponents like this is because they had a commanding lead in the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So, prioritize the regular season. You get cupcake matchups. I mean,
that's the way it works.
Yeah, sometimes it's how the cookie crumbles, but I'll throw it back to LeBron played against some of the worst teams in the playoffs in his Cavs years, like bad teams. But we'll move over to the other matchup. Knicks and Pacers somehow surprisingly got tied up 2-2 after the Knicks took a very commanding 2-0 lead. They just can't stay healthy, the Knicks. I mean, Robinson's been out of the lineup. OG Anunoby didn't play game 3 and didn't play game 4, I don't believe. Jalen Brunson's out there playing, but it seems like every game he's out for a couple of minutes and just looks absolutely ass. Josh Hart's playing fantastic basketball.
Minutes. Yep.
But he's also doing it in 48 minutes.
So
I think
the insane part with this series has just been how limited these, like, now we're seeing Alec Burks minutes, we're seeing Jericho Sims minutes in like important games. It's getting pretty ridiculous. Josh Hart's even like made jokes about it, saying, "Oh, doesn't matter, I'm playing 48 minutes a game." Like, that's the Tom Thibodeau rotation, and you can love it or hate it. You can say, hey, he has to play those guys because they won't win if they don't. But the injuries are rearing their ugly heads, and now, you're against an Indiana team you probably should beat, especially if you were healthy, but now you're struggling because now you got Bogdanovich out. due to an injury. You've got you've had Randall out. You have Robinson out now. You know, it's just one thing after another, and this team cannot stay healthy. It's OG obviously as well. Like, he's honestly the most important piece they're probably missing right now, because his defense, especially last series, was insane. So it's tough if you're a Knicks fan. It's very possible this falls apart and we see the Pacers in the conference finals. I probably still wouldn't put my money on it right now, because Brunson has just looked amazing these playoffs, but my goodness, I mean, they're just crumbling apart, and it's tough to see.
Yeah, I would say still, and now it's a best of 3 series. I still have the Knicks winning this one, because the Knicks at home in the Garden, I think a lot of what we saw from the Knicks in games 3 and 4 was the fallout of all this Rick Carlisle, we're not getting the calls kind of fallout.
A lot of suspect calls.
The Knicks straight up just weren't getting a lot of calls games 3 and 4 as compared to their home games, go figure, in 1 and 2. That crowd is also just different. Like, that Madison Square Garden crowd is just different right now. It's the liveliest it's been in probably a decade, since the very middle to late Carmelo Anthony years. So I would still pick them just solely on, I think Brunson can elevate them. I've seen good things from the Pacers, but I still feel like they're young. Like you were saying about the Celtics, they're for sure not battle tested. I haven't really been impressed by their offense as much as I feel like I should be, considering how much firepower they have. I am just concerned when push comes to shove that they don't have the defensive mentality to actually push this over the edge. Like, especially like we saw in games 1 and 2, they got hung up on these. Granted, whether you're on one side or the other, foul calls. Like, once you get held up on foul calls and then costing you games, that's just it's a slippery slope. You got to play the hand you're dealt and just go with the flow. I'm gonna pick the Knicks to still win this series, but the bigger issue is they get through this series. Are they gonna have any players alive or legs under them to play a Celtics team? Like, do you even need to bring Porzingis back outside of maybe like 10 minutes a game, just to get him reps?
Warm-up series. I mean, they're not gonna have they have a 7-man rotation kind of right now, and that's like, if you're not giving Alec Burks, Jericho Sims minutes, like, it's pretty insane. And one thing I want to point out too, it's funny that you bring up the foul calls, because it's very ironic, because same thing literally happened against the 76ers last round. You know, it's kind of the inverse, you know, so
it is funny how that worked out. I mean, big market teams, like, these things happen in the playoffs. Everything gets very very micro in the fact that we analyze everything. There's fewer games, bigger scale, so it's natural. But I mean, there has been some poor officiating in this series. I won't lie to you. I mean, there has been, but every series you're gonna find that in.
Yeah, you just gotta find a way to
overcome every foul call in a Celtics game ever. I always do it.
Shoot,
it's the mentality you have as a fan.
We saw a few minutes ago in that Celtics game, so most definitely.
100%. But God forbid the Pacers advance this round to face Boston. Like,
be insane.
I have more confidence we could beat the Pacers than the Knicks, and that, like, I still think neither of those series goes to 5. Goes past 5.
Despite everything I said about Boston to begin the video, 100% agree. I don't see that series going past 5 games, and it shouldn't, especially like if Porzingis is even like half healthy. Boston really, like,
well, you don't play him if he's half healthy. You wait until he's 100%.
Exactly. Well, I mean, 75%. I don't know. Get him warmed up, but
no, you wait till he's 100%. It's a calf issue.
That's fair. That's 100%. Fair. I'm assuming at the end they might be ramping him up, but
yeah, I mean, he's been out. I've seen videos of him out on the floor, like, doing shoot around. He's moving okay, but they're not pulling him out onto the court until he's 101%. There's no reason to.
No,
it's not like Giannis is waiting for you or Embiid's waiting for you in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's maybe Miles Turner, maybe Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, I'm okay.
They'll be alright.
Although at this rate, Josh Hart at center.
Who knows? Yeah, Jericho Sims might be. Nah, let me chill. But
a big rotation of Jericho Sims and Precious Achiuwa. I already know that's sending Knicks fans into a frenzy.
It's okay. We're not speaking on their downfall, because we're hoping OG's able
Well,
to
I
play
mean,
in the next few games.
I want 7 games of Knicks and Pacers just for the
I'm
sake of the Celtics, but I also think it will go 7. Just to be very honest.
Look, I want to see them healthy because I'm always manifesting healthy playoff series, but who knows? We'll see.
Agree. But we're gonna move over to the West Coast, and Chris, bring us in with what looked like after Game 1 an insane series, and after Game 2 we said maybe not so much, and after Game 4 we're like, well, hold on a second.
Nuggets versus Timberwolves, and this series has just been topsy-turvy, as weird as it can get. Yeah, the Timberwolves absolutely annihilate the Nuggets in the first 2 games, or in the second game definitely. First
Annihilating game was not the word.
Yeah, but it was a surprising win. 2 was an annihilation, and really, kind of out of nowhere, nobody expected them to be up 2-0, and of course the Nuggets come back in games 3 and 4 and beat the Timberwolves, and now it's tied 2-2. Both teams won both their games on the road, and now it's a best of 3. Denver regains home court, which is absolutely massive in this series. And I don't know where this goes from here. Game 5 is going to be so pivotal. If the Timberwolves do not win Game 5, I think it could easily end in 6. As scary as that sounds, I don't want to count them out. But the momentum just kind of shifted like that. It's just insane how the momentum shifted, because you had Game 2 where it looked like the Timberwolves were on top of the world. They blew them out without Rudy Gobert, and now you're seeing the Nuggets make this comeback like we all expected they could. I don't think any of us expected them to get swept even after the first 2 games, but wow, man, this has been one of the weirder series I can remember, and not weird because it's 2-2. That's a normal for like 2 competitive teams, just for both teams to win on the road.
The way that we got to 2-2.
We're blessed because this is a series, and it easily could go 7.
I'm glad of all the series, this is the series. For the most part, all of them have been series. The Celtics and even Cavs, none of those games have been straight up blowouts. They've been all pretty competitive until like at least the last quarter for all of them. But we've had good series in all of these. There was that one game in Game 4 of Pacers and Knicks, I think, which was an absolute domination. Or maybe it was Game 3. One of them was just the Pacers ran away with. But yeah, Timberwolves came out in Game 1 and won a very, very close one. And then Game 2 with no Gobert, like you said, just absolutely dominated. I think they only let like 83 offensive points to the Nuggets, and it was just everyone was like, sky is falling. Nuggets dropped both games at home.
They had Jamal Murray acting up,
Jamal Murray was throwing things in the court, should have been suspended. Don't at me. But yeah, the Nuggets, I think rightfully, as we kind of all predicted, they played like the Nuggets and won Game 3 and 4. That's the one thing, like, everyone was I think, reacting more so about the Timberwolves' greatness after they've won those first 2 games. And I'm like, slow our rolls now. It's a best of 7. Yes, you won your first 2 on the road. Huge. Gotta still win 2 more against the defending champs. Like, they're not gonna go down without a fight. They're not gonna go down quietly. This is still, for my money, even as a Celtics fan, this is the team to beat.
Yeah.
The Nuggets is the team to beat, because when it comes down to fundamentals, I don't see how you beat them 4 times. I don't see it.
They're definitely the most battle tested, and especially that starting 5, the most well-rounded, and I picked them in 6 or 7 to win this series, and I still believe it's a big possibility. The series has been weird, but this is why they're the Nuggets. They're the most, like I said, battle-tested team. They got the most, I don't want to say most experience. I mean, I guess most experience, because a lot of the teams in the West are still young. And
out of the West would easily be most experience. Yeah.
You can argue Celtics because they've been in the finals in 2022, but, they haven't won yet. It gets tricky in that sense, but they're the team to beat. And man, it's gonna be interesting going forward in this series. I expect Denver to pull this out just based on experience, but look out for the Timberwolves, because man, Edwards has been amazing. This whole team has been amazing. Like, I was so impressed with Naz Reid and Karl Towns' like defense especially in Game 2 without Gobert on Jokic. Don't expect that to hold up, but man, they best of 3, anything can happen.
You don't really need it to hold up. You just need to hold up enough and allow your perimeter guys to limit the shooters. If you can limit KCP and what Michael Porter Jr. can do, you can kind of hold your own. I think what you made a great point earlier. There's a lot more pressure on Minnesota to win Game 5 than there is on the Nuggets to win. I think if Minnesota loses Game 5, it's chalk. I
It
just don't
flips.
see. I don't see Minnesota winning 2 games in a row again.
Especially a 7 and on the road.
Exactly, a 7 on the road. That's the key point here. It's not game 1 and 2. Like, yes, you could argue, oh, well, they already won 2 games on the road consecutively. It's not the same. Winning a game 7 on the road, that's where that's where we talk about being battle tested and having this playoff experience. That's where the Nuggets have Michael Malone too. Michael Malone as the coach and these players have that experience. They've been there. They've done that. They've won a championship, for God's sakes. They won a game 7 just last year. I think it was didn't the Mavs push them to 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals? Was it, or am I losing my mind?
I don't believe they got pushed to 7 in that
Western
series, but they've definitely won a few in the past before, especially like think of the Clippers one back in the bubble. But
that's true. That was that's true. That's early this Nuggets run, but still. But like I was saying, I can see the inverse. I can see the Nuggets losing Game 5 and absolutely winning Game 6 and 7. No doubt in my mind. I'm gonna pick Nuggets in 7 ultimately. That's how I think this is gonna go. We'll see. I think a lot of what the Minnesota Timberwolves can do in this series is going to hinge on, can Anthony Edwards continue to elevate himself to that superstar status,
which he most certainly has so far.
He has played. He has. I'm not disrespecting him, but we're going to need to see a 35 plus bomb, like probably twice from him. To be very honest,
and you're going to need help from others. So you're going to need Naz Reid to play like the 6th man of the year. You're going to need Karl Towns to be an all-star. You're going to need Gobert to be at least some like that interior presence he can be. He ain't gonna stop Jokic, but whether he's switching in the paint or whether he's he's got to be able to adjust shots. Like, you're gonna need all that to beat this Denver team in a best of 3.
Yeah, best of 3, everything's just so marginalized. There's so little room for error. But hey, we got here. It's best of 3 series. I expected to go 7. I'm excited, baby. I'm really excited. We head over to the other Western Conference series, which has been just as fun, I would say, but it's just a little less high profile. But Mavericks and Thunder. Mavericks, kind of surprisingly, currently hold a 2-1 lead over the OKC Thunder. They're currently leading Game 4 as we speak at time of recording this. So, take your pick now, Chris. Who's winning Game 4? Put me on the spot.
As of right now, I mean, it's an 8-point game. Dallas has a lead. They're
Actually,
at home.
6-point game.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, my phone's behind, but it's at home. Dallas could really win this series. I mean, this game's gonna hinge on a lot, but if Dallas ends up winning this, they probably win the series. But I can easily see OKC tying this up 2-2. It's tough. I'm gonna give that advantage to the home team, but by the time this is uploaded, we will already know. And I mean, Dallas getting Game 3 was just enormous. Stealing that home court and just, man.
Dallas stealing Game 3.
Or you know what I mean.
I also have Dallas winning.
Not stealing Game 3, stealing, you know what I mean.
One of us has our brain functioning tonight, and it's the Celtics fan who's in the second round, about to be in the Eastern Conference Finals again, and the Finals.
Stealing one on the road. There you go. My apologies. Dallas stealing one on the road. They won Game 3, but they didn't steal that one.
Anyways, let the Celtics fan speak. I have the talking stick.
Mavs
are going to win Game 4, I suspect, and I suspect they're going to win this series in 6. Kind of not the best series so far from Luka, but Kyrie and PJ Washington have kind of carried the load. Not to say Luka's been bad. He just hasn't been as effective and amazing as we're probably used to. On the Thunder side, they're just not playing as good defensively, and I think we're really seeing the lack of experience taking hold. If you can't get either Game 3 or 4 on the road,
it's gonna be rough.
It's over. You're not winning 3 straight against Luka and Kyrie. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I expect them to lose this game. If they win, perfect. I want a series out of this. I want full 7.
Want a full 7?
I don't think we're gonna get full 7. I mean, I want full 7 for every series ever, unless the Celtics are
Yeah.
involved. Then I want it out in 4. But that's just the basketball nerd in me. It's sad. It's gonna be sad if the Thunder go out this way, but like, I just don't see a world. If assuming they drop this game, which I suspect they will, I don't see a world them coming down 3-1. And I'm really gonna push them to lose this game. My prediction, just because they haven't shown me that they can win games on the road against these high-profile teams like this in a playoff setting. We're gonna see now. SGA and the rest of the guys are gonna play out of their mind to outpace the offensive prowess of Luka, Kyrie, and the rest of the supporting cast has really been shooting lights out and playing pretty decent defense. We'll see. Jason Kidd's kind of coaching for his life right now.
Getting to a Western Conference Finals will help.
Doing that will help. But we'll see. Overall, though, we've got 3 very competitive series and the Celtics. So, hey, I'll take that.
No, most certainly. And like you said about the Mavericks, they've had guys like PJ Washington helping out throughout this series. That's going to be key. That I'm assuming if they win today, like assuming they hold this lead, I'm going to assume he's a big part of that.
He's 2 for 3 on 3 so far, 6 of their 40
That's
points.
what you need from him. I mean,
that's what you went out and got him for. Like, I mean, they didn't pay a big price to get him, I'm going to be honest with you. But that's what you went out and got him. Is to kind of sort of be their 3rd star. I mean, I would really classify him that way. Kind of sort of be their 3rd scorer is what else.
Yeah,
kind of
he's been their 3rd best player, I guess you can argue, in this series. I mean, honestly, probably even like he's been. No, I'm not trying to throw shots at Luka, but you know, he's been up there. He's been up there. I'm not gonna say anything controversial, but
yeah, PJ Washington's better than Luka Doncic. They should just trade him to the Magic straight up for Jalen.
100%. Yeah, let's trade him for Cole Anthony. You know, Cole Anthony, Luka trade definitely.
Summer.
Yeah, 100%. Find a way to make the salaries match, and it's fair. You know, we'll give you a pick to sweeten it up. It's fine, but
you can have our 2029 second round pick.
Nah, they can have the 2025 Denver.
Coward. You're an actual coward. But let us know down in the comments below. How long do you think all these series are going to go? Can the Celtics close out in 5? Do the Timberwolves have any chance of winning a Game 7 on the road? If you say yes, tell me what drugs you're on. But please,
it's disrespectful, man.
Subscribe. But what, drugs?
There's a chance. I'm not going to pick them, but there's a chance, man. Come on. Anthony Edwards drops a 50 bomb. You're going to say there's no chance?
Officer, he's over here. Get him. Whatever reefer you're... Fill it out.
Listen, man.
But please,
listen. There's a chance. I'm not picking them. There's a chance. That's all I'm going to say.
Please.
Drugs are bad, kids. Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs.
But yes, thank you for tuning in as always. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let us know what you think about the face cam edition of these podcasts, whether they're a little bit more engaging. And let us know what you think about round 2 in the playoffs and who you think's going to win each series. As always, I'm Chris. Thank you for watching. And this is my co-host, Jacob.
Long lost son of NBA legend James Young. Celtics legend, that is. Let's go, baby. Tatum's going to win the whole darn thing. Keep it family friendly. Please like, subscribe, hit that follow button as well. Comment, let your friends, families, dogs know. Happy belated Mother's Day as well to all of our mothers out there.
Yep. Everyone take care.